están listos.
Okay, hi everyone. I am Ashmita Biswas from India. Right now, I live in New York and I just finished my studies in dance. And today, I'm interviewing the choreographer Anabela Lenzu. And let's see her take on this art form. So, Annabella, as a dancer, choreographer, and a teacher, what is your creative process? Is it same for all of them or a different process? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Thank you, Ashmita. Well, let's say, what is my creative process when? Because this pandemic revolution, all of us and what we knew about creative process, we throw up through the window. So what is my creative process now? Let's talk about that, and then I can compare and contrast with the past, because it's been 30 years that I'm choreographed nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, because of the pandemic, I start to create dance films in my home, because it's the place that I feel safe, and even it's very restricted and limited, because I'm in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. You know, I have a small apartment. I have 2 kids, the husband, the dog,
Mm-hmm.
many things.
Yeah.
Not white available walls that I can do things. So it requires a lot of planning, but at the same time, I'm very interested in exploring this quotidianity, this environment that I live, and try to get together my personal life and my artistical life into these new creations. So since the pandemic started, I've been studying filmmaking and video art in the School of Visual Art. I've been taking many courses, and I've been reading so much and research, because this pandemic, force us don't be able to be on the stage. And actually, I cannot envision myself at this moment choreograph for the stage. It just doesn't appear in my mind. But I'm thinking about these cinematic images. Anyhow, I am a choreographer that use strong images. So now, how the length, how I frame these ideas, and also made me understand how to frame the body in a different way. As the audience, I perform and I show my entire body, but now I can just choreograph with my face or with my shoulder or with my elbow, just my hands. So give me another possibilities to reframe my body, and again incorporate my private life into. It's not that my works before, there was, at the beginning they were more political, then it went more ritualistic, then more spectacular. But in the last couple of years, I'm going more and more to be autobiographical. So this feels like in the line of research my identity as an immigrant, as a mother, and showing that, through film. So the creative process, it changed drastically because of that.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. And how different would you say the creative process is compared to before the pandemic when you were doing it for the stage? How would you approach it then?
Well, let's think. Um, I think I was thinking about the whole spectacle. What is to me like what we call the mise en scène, you know, the physical space, the body in this space. I did many site-specific outdoor performances, but my love is in the theater, in the black box. So thinking about this black box, the idea is developed in a different way, and perhaps more experimentation about movement. Now I'm thinking more with an outside eye. I mean, for the dance films, I start to, I see something or I research and I have this flash of this, visceral image that could be like a metaphor for something else, that can have textures and even smells. I'm thinking smells and textures and shapes. And I feel that with the camera, even though I am not a filmmaker, it's my husband that a professional photographer and filmmaker that he filmed, but I direct him, and I we talk and discuss how much is the frame. So I go with my phone with his camera and I look at it, how I can capture, one of the definition of what is choreography is like a choreography is a way to capture a moment in time. So I feel that this film can capture these sensations, something about that is so much intimate than on the stage. It's another communication. It's like if I want to give you the news, and I call on you on your phone, or I write an email, or I send you a letter, or let's say let's encounter ourselves in the middle of the street and I give you the news.
Mhm.
It perhaps is the same news, but it's different treatment. How I share, how I communicate this idea with the audience. And I'm excited about that because it forced me to work my creativity in a different way. For example, this week we filmed 3 days with my husband, and I'm doing this film with my daughter. So it's me and my daughter talking about the female passing the legacy to the next generation. And I know that I have 1 hour, 2 hours to film this. So with my husband, we discuss, okay, this day we're gonna work on this scene, and I have this time. And then we improvise in front of the camera, which is different. I'm not an improviser. I am a choreographer, so everything that you see, but I don't know, I feel that if I establish the frame, if I establish the texture, my environment,
Mhm.
and I know what I'm gonna do, I feel free to improvise. And then the choreography will happen also in the editing process of the film. But
Right.
I don't have this opportunity when I'm doing the live show. But here I can have many different versions of the film and depend on the editing. And again, I am the head and my husband is the technological. I still refuse to learn about this technology. I feel that, I cannot be 100 things at the same time. But I can direct him. And again, we talk about the storyboards, how to really frame an image and a texture and an environment and an emotion, how to capture in this image. So it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. So, like, from what I understand, is like when you're doing it in film, it's almost like a zoom in
Yes,
kind of a picture, but on stage, it's almost like a zoom out as the whole
yes,
picture. So,
exactly.
that's how you would differentiate, and your creative process would change accordingly. That,
Mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm.
interesting. You mentioned about the pandemic before and how it like changed this whole process. So could you talk a little more about how the pandemic brought about a change in your views as an artist? As how did you adapt as an artist to this?
Sure, sure, sure. So, in May, I supposed to premiere a full-length show that I was working for 2 years, commissioned by La Mama for the La Mama Mood Festival. And I was like, I'm not gonna throw all this through the window. 2 months, 2 years of research, and what I'm gonna do with this show.
Mhm.
Let's see when this pandemic is gonna be over. So on the go, I decided I'm gonna make a dance film. So I talked with my director Daniel Petro and my dramaturg Naoko Maishiva, and I said we're gonna keep rehearsing through Zoom, and we're gonna make a dance film. But what I decide to do this is a one shot. Instead to editing, it's gonna be like I try to keep this freshness of the performance, and so I make a 25-minute film non-stop, no editing. So I need to record many times because I have many props. The space, it was complicated, but what the pandemic teach me is, or reinforce actually, is artists, we survive like a cockroaches no matter what happened. Is the necessity of creating to express yourself, to processing life through art. If
Mhm.
I don't do that, I will be feeling miserable, I will be crippled in my body. I have to move, I have to choreograph in order to process reality. So the pandemic reaffirmed that thing of adaptability. And
Mhm.
because I have something that I want to share, I find again, like the news, I write you an email, okay, I'm doing a dance film, I'm going to do it live, I'm going to perform in the middle of the park, uh, how I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
So that's why I keep creating, thank God. And also the pandemic give me a little more time because I don't need to travel like crazy, like maniac all over New York, especially downtown Manhattan, back and forth to Brooklyn. that
That's
I have more time to research. So in the last year, I don't know how many, I lost track, but I, been buying and reading books that I have stored for 10 years and I couldn't read, you
mhm.
know, and I feel that this extra time even make deeper what I do.
That's great. Well, it was so insightful to hear from an prominent artist like you and how you like adapted to this whole situation in a positive manner and how you see a silver lining instead of being like, oh no, everything is ruined. So that was really great.
Well, I feel that that's how we learn, to survive, and to thrive. Of course, I cannot say that everything is pink, and I've been moments that I've been very depressed, but what keep me on hold is wake up every morning and I have something to learn and I have something to create. And so that's make me wake up every morning with enthusiasm. It's so many things that I'm inside my house, of course we do going out, but it's less. And but it's not enough the hours of the day for me to achieve. And in a way, I'm like, oh, this feeling is very known. Even when I have a little more time, it's
Mhm.
not enough because when it's a hunger and a thirst for knowledge, and that's why I do art.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. Your hunger and thirst for knowledge. It's very inspiring. Thank you so much for your
Welcome, Ashmita. Thank you so much.
sharing your knowledge.
We are in touch.
Yes.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.